Hi, and welcome to Lisa's Stamp Studio. I'm Lisa Curcio. Today I have an amazing card layout, especially if you're a beginner card maker. Now you might be thinking as a beginner card maker that the cards have to be uber simple and maybe borderline boring. But today you're gonna love this layout because if you can cut a piece of paper, you can make this one. Now you're gonna wanna make sure you grab that free project sheet that's linked down in the video description for you below. It's going to include the pictures, the cutting dimensions, and the supplies for all the projects I'm going to share with you. I want to thank Craftsy for sponsoring today's video. Craftsy is your online resource for all things creative. With over 2,000 classes in 20 different categories, there is something really for everyone because they cover baking, crocheting, knitting, and of course, art. You are going to love what they have to offer. Their instructors are award-winning, friendly, and teach in a wonderfully easy format so that you can follow along with them from home. Just recently, I was looking for instructions on how to create projects with paper quilling. In addition to that, I wanted to learn how to do some embroidered cards. So to Craftsy I went, and I got great instruction step by step. The best part about Craftsy is they're always creating new classes, so you're going to always be able to come back and find something new. The instructors will walk you through the technique step by step, so it's easy to follow along with them. And if you love live streaming, they've got you covered there as well. The benefits of live streaming include those extra tips and of course that interaction. And it allows you to work with the community right there on Craftsy that become your new friends, people you can craft along with. Craftsy is offering my viewers an incredible opportunity. For just $1.49, you're going to get a full year's premium membership. That's right. You're going to be able to level up the craft you already have or learn something new. Come and enjoy all the benefits at Craftsy. Gina and I are with you right now in the live chat, and we would love to interact with you. So go ahead and log into your YouTube account, which uses your Gmail address, so that we can answer your questions live. And I come back and I read every single one. So if you're here watching the replay, I've got you covered as well. I'll be using products that you can find in my online store at lisastampstudio.com with Stampin' Up. But in addition to that, I have some favorite products that are not Stampin' Up related. And these will have affiliate links for you. You're going to be able to find those craft room favorites, as I call them, on my website under Shop Craft Room Favorites. Take a look. There's some great things there for you. These aid me with my paper crafting, and they've helped me immensely, and I think they'll help you as well. I'd like to give a huge shout out to our YouTube channel members. You'll notice them because they have a crown in front of their names. For just 99 cents a month, they're going to get custom badges for their names. They're also going to get custom emojis, and they have the opportunity to buy special merchandise that we have designed. You can find all the details by clicking the join button right underneath this video for further details. We would love to welcome you. All right, we're ready. Let's get started on today's demonstration. We're going to begin by doing some cutting. You're going to need a piece of designer series paper that measures 6 inches by 6 inches. Keep in mind that if you use a paper that does not have a pattern, that might be the easiest place to start, but I'm going to give you some options. Stampin' Up's Designer Series papers are double-sided, giving you lots and lots of options. I'm going to be using my favorite craft pencil. I absolutely love this because the lead is soft and the eraser, it works like a charm. So I'm going to be able to use that to make some marks. You'll find the pencil linked for you in my Craft Room Favorites under Shop on my website. We're going to do 4 tick marks. So I'm making sure that my Designer Series paper is across the top ledge. This is the Stampin' Up paper trimmer. With the clear guide closed, I'm going to come in here with that pencil and I'm going to make a mark here at the top to show that it's 1 inch. Now I know that's going to be hard to see in the video, but I'll hold it up for you. You're going to rotate that, and now you're going to do the exact same thing on the other side, making sure that it's nice and straight right through the track, and make your pencil mark. And we're going to do this now on all 4 sides, so we'll end up with 4 pencil marks. Just make sure your pencil is inside the track. And then here is the last one, and then we'll make that last tick mark here. I'm going to hold this up so that you can see it. So there's a pencil mark here, 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 and here. And now it's just a matter of connecting it. But you're going to need to watch me because once we make the first cut, we're going to have 2 pieces. So I'm going to use that clear cutting guide to my advantage. I'm going to pivot the Designer Series paper so that it falls within the black cutting track. So we've got the first one here at the top and the second one here at the bottom. You can close the track to make sure your blades are out of the way. Not only does it contain the light blade for scoring, but it also includes the dark blade for cutting, which I absolutely love. So I'm just making sure that my pencil lines are exactly where they need to be. And then once I'm happy with them, we can go ahead and we can slice. Like I said, now we've got 2 pieces. We're going to need to pivot this and cut it again from this line to this line, but you can see that this might be troublesome. Well, this is super easy. I'm going to put the pieces together here so that all the straight edges are at the top, making sure that these 2 pieces meet. I'm going to come in with my favorite Post-it labeling and cover-up tape. I cannot live without this stuff. It's great for my dies as well. So once I have the paper perfectly aligned at the top and my cut lines are met here in the center, I am just going to take that in place. Now we can pivot it as if it was one piece. So we're looking to align the pencil mark here in the track and the pencil mark here. You can go ahead and navigate your blade down and out of the way to double check to make sure you've got it exactly where you want it. And then once you're happy, you can go ahead and slice. Now, once you're done, you're going to end up with 4 different quadrants. So you're going to see them here. So we've got the top, the bottom, and the sides. This tape is still usable, so we're not going to throw that away. I love to be able to preserve what I can. I'm going to put that here. We're going to come back to that. When looking at this, you can see that these pieces are mirrored to one another. You can use all 4 pieces to create 4 different cards. That's the best part about this. For the sake of today's video, we're going to go ahead and we're going to use this piece right here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to erase that pencil line. Since my paper doesn't have a direction and I know I need to work with a corner, I have an option of either putting it here or I can rotate it and put it here, which is what I'm going to do for this specific card. As I mentioned, I have other card samples for you. Now, before I start sticking it down, I want to give you a couple tips. We're going to be adding a couple layers to that basic white cardstock. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to line up my designer series paper where it eventually will be adhered. I'm going to take a pencil and I am very lightly going to trace along this edge. And the reason I'm doing that is it's going to give me an idea of where I need to stamp the greeting. Now, before I move this, let's talk about the piece that's going to go here. There's a lot of things you can do. You can do designer series paper, you can do colored cardstock, or in my case, what I decided to do was to emboss a piece of pretty and pink cardstock, which is the same color as the designer series paper. That's the beauty of Stampin' Up! Products, is that color coordination. This is the complimentary embossing folder, the stamp set I'm going to be using, which is called Happy Hibiscus. Now, this is also a hybrid embossing folder, which means not only will it emboss, but it will also die cut the specific flowers. I'm going to be using this piece independently as itself. Turn it the way you want it to go, and it's going to eventually fit up here in the corner. I am looking to align, just hold in place, here along the bottom edge. When I'm happy with it, I'm just going to extend that trace line, just so I know that my greeting will be along that angle. Before I stick anything down is when I like to stamp, because if I've made a mistake, I can flip this over and do it again. So I'm going to move that silicone craft sheet out of the way, and with that very faint pencil line there, we now have a guide for the greeting. I've mounted the words, "You Make Me Smile," and it comes from that coordinating bundle called Happy Hibiscus. Beautiful floral images, a great array of greetings, and it has some fantastic dies with it. I decided to use smoky slate ink for the greetings. I thought black might be a little bit too harsh. Photopolymer makes it easy to navigate since the stamp will turn the color of the ink. I'm going to turn this to make it easy for my hand. I'm going to line this up along that pencil line. Once I'm happy with it, we're going to go ahead and we are going to press. I'm going to bring the silicone craft sheet back in because I'm going to do some gluing, and I prefer liquid glue for this next step. Now is a great time, once your ink has dried, to go ahead and erase any of those pencil lines. I'm going to be using the Precision Glue Press for this. I have arthritic hands and squeezing a regular glue bottle is very, very difficult for me. This comes out nice and thin. It allows me to get that needle tip in those corners so I make sure that they don't lift. It has a stand, which I love. And now what we're going to do is we're going to work up inside that corner. So we're looking at the top and this left side to make sure it's aligned as good as possible. Now, obviously, this is going to be a little bit bigger, but it's the best size for you to get that corner to fit without too much waste. I am going to add a little bit of liquid glue here down at the bottom, and I'm going to add the rest right here and here and here. And I'm not going to come down too far. The reason I didn't put it here is I often got too low, and then of course it was going to show. So I'm looking to align the bottom edges here and here, and I'm making sure that this paper is coming up, butting it right up against that designer series paper, and then we're going to press that in place. I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to rub from the back because it is embossed. I want to make sure we get in all those little nooks and crannies. Now, once this has dried, you're going to go ahead and trim away the excess. And the easiest way to do this is with the nice long pair tipped scissors. So I'm going to follow that white cardstock as my guide, and I'm going to cut away on that pretty and pink cardstock. And we're going to turn it, and we're going to do the exact same thing now on this side. When you're all finished, you're going to have that perfect corner, and of course your greeting is here. Now you can literally layer this and be done. Talk about a great beginner card. But because I know a lot of you are seasoned stampers, but you still like simple cards and beautiful card layouts, we're going to take this a step further. This image in the Happy Hibiscus stamp set is one piece, which is wonderful because it's going to fit in the hybrid embossing folder and in the die. So you're going to get a 3-for-1. I'm using my Misty stamp positioner. Let's take our image and let's lay it on top of the cardstock so that we have placement. Once you're happy with it, go ahead and close that hinge and it's going to pick up the stamp. Photopolymer is very sticky, so you're going to want to make sure that your cardstock stays inside the corner for placement. Now that it's attached to the plate, we're going to go ahead and take the pretty and pink ink and we are going to ink up that image. I'm going to close this and I'm going to press. Now because of my arthritic hands, it's hard for me to push, but I love this pressure tool. This is linked for you in my craft room favorites as well. And I'm just going over the top of this to press out the design because it's rather large. Now when I open this, I'm going to hold it up so that you can see it. Here, it's not real solid, and I've got a little spot here, and of course this one's not really good either, but this is where the Misty comes into play. Make sure your cardstock is still inside the corner and it hasn't moved. I can ink this up again and again. This is also wonderful when you're making multiples of the same card, because all you have to do is take out the piece of paper, replace it with a new piece, and you can just keep going. Going over the top again with my pressure tool, I'm now going to open that up, and look, that is perfect. The solid areas are nice and solid. My outlines are very predominant. Now for this next step, there are coordinating images that fill these centers, like this one here. They are independent, which means if you only need one, you're in good shape. But I love the fact that the die actually die cuts all three. You can actually use the Misty once again, which we could do here, but this is pretty simple with photopolymer. And if you're a beginner, I want to show you the ease of the photopolymer stamps. I'm going to bring in some scratch paper because we're going to use just this one ink pad. I'm going to ink it up and then I'm going to stamp off a layer of ink so that's going to be lighter than what was stamped here. I'm turning this to make it easy for my hand, and through photopolymer you can actually see where you're going, and I'm going to press right over the top. Lots of firm, even pressure, and then I'm going to lift. You're going to see now how that image on the inside is a little lighter than the outside image, but we've got a beautifully filled flower. Remember this piece of Post-it labeling and cover-up tape I said to save? Now is the time it's going to come in handy. Here is that die all connected, which means it's going to do 3 at one time. You are going to line this up and get it exactly where you want it. And here is where that tape is a champ. It is going to hold your die in place. Once you have it where you want it, go ahead and secure it over the paper, the image, and the die and press. When you lift this now, you're going to see that it doesn't shift, so that when you die cut this through your die cutting machine, you're going to have perfect cuts for all 3 images. Now I did do that ahead of time, and here is our flower. I'm going to move that flower off to the side, and we're going to bring in the card base. I chose pretty and pink because if you're a beginner, you may not have a lot of supplies, and I want to show you that you can make gorgeous cards with just 1 or 2 ink pads and 1 or 2 pieces of cardstock. 5.5 by 8.5. I scored it at 4 1/4. I'm going to make sure my ends are nice and aligned, and I love to use my bone folder for those nice crisp edges. I'm going to push this aside because I'm going to add a little something down the center here. So I thought for this beautiful feminine card, the beautiful in color glimmer paper would be perfect. Now I like to attach it to the outside of the cardstock, so it would rest here on the designer series paper. It's easiest for me just to place my precision glue press glue right down here to make sure that it's not going to extend past where I need it. I'm going to turn that glimmer paper so that my ends are going to meet here at the bottom. Remember, I'm working on the designer series paper. The other reason I love this is because it takes any kind of broken seam here between the two papers, because there's a slight elevation difference, and minimizes that. I'm going to flip it over on the silicone craft sheet, and I'm going to press from the back. Now the silicone craft sheet is like my best friend because liquid glue, hot glue, and adhesive will not stick to it, which means I'm going to keep my work surface sticky free. I'm going to come in now with another pair of scissors and cut away the excess. I keep a pair of scissors in my studio. They have a little bit of red ribbon on the handle. That's for those sticky, yucky projects. Glimmer paper can be really tough on your scissors because, of course, it's got a glitter finish on it. And that's where I like to use these scissors that can actually take a little bit more abuse versus my good ones. Coming back here to the card base, we are going to flip that layer over and we're going to add some glue around the outside edges. Look how nice and thin that can be. I love that. So that when you place this down, you don't have to worry about that oozing that comes out all over the place. Now that that has been stuck, let's talk about this flower. This in itself I thought was fabulous, but I thought it was a little boring and we needed to play up a little bit more. So I took the dies once again and I used this large detailed leaf here. Keeping with my color concept, I did one in white, but I also did one in the smoky slate. That goes with the greeting. Again, that color coordination. So let's come over here to the silicone craft sheet and let's do a little bit of shadow die piecing. I've got my reversible precision tweezers here. Love that for these little intricate things. I'm flipping this over and I'm going to add a little bit of liquid glue here to the back. Again, look how thin you can get that to fit on your dies. I am slightly going to offset these two pieces and I'm not overly worried about the stem because it's going to eventually be tucked. I'm going to make sure that my flower is not going to cover up my greeting, but I'm also going to make sure that it doesn't extend past the outside perimeter of my card. So I'm going to flip that flower upside down. I'm bringing in my dimensionals. These are pre-cut pieces of foam tape, and I'm going to work a little bit closer to the inside because we know we're going to tuck some leaves there. We want to have a little bit of room to do that. I'm using my Take Your Pick tool with that paper piercing tool attachment to remove those paper backings. Again, being very cognizant that we don't hide this, I'm going to tack this here. We're going to come back to the leaves now, and this is the fun part. You can decide where you want them. And I do think I want the eye to go up because we're going to play up this area a little bit more. Now, obviously, you can use liquid glue, but in my case, we're going to add a couple dimensionals here to the back. I'm going to do one here and one here. I'm always cognizant of making sure that my images are well balanced with these for mailings. And I know my cards go through a mail meter at the post office. Let's tuck that in and we're going to attach that here. I want to bring a little bit of that smoky slate focus to the flower. And that's when I brought in these beautiful basic gray and smoky slate embellishments. Aren't these pretty? I'm going to use that Take Your Pick tool with one of the smaller ones to pick it up because there's glue dots already on the back. And this one is going to go right here in the middle just to draw your eye over and bring in some continuity from the greeting into the flower. This is really simple. I walked you through how to do it and there's lots of different ideas. Now let me show you how I use the other piece of the designer series paper that we cut. Here is another. You're going to see this time my corner was down here. And again, because my designer series paper did not have a direction, I had lots of options on which corner I could use. That's going to be different if your paper has a direction. So this one is just upside down of this one, so my slant is here near the top. This next one is a repetition of this one, but you're going to notice a different greeting from that stamp set, and this is what I love. You can make these from one piece of 6x6 designer series paper and gift them as like a little card set. Beautiful and simple. Wait until you see these other cards that I'm going to share with you. Talk about keeping it simple. This gorgeous designer series paper is actually free during Stampin' Up's largest sale of the year, which begins on January 7th. It is called Toadstool Gardens, and the colors are fantastic. Unlike these cards where I embossed cardstock to go here, I just use a complimentary designer series paper in that same package, as well as here, all from the same package of designer series paper. No image. I used a greeting from one of my very favorite scripted stamp sets. It's called Sweetly Scripted, and you can see lots of occasions here for this. And I stamped it on an angle in the black just to bring out that darker color in my designer series paper. I kept the embellishments very, very simple for a clean and beautiful card layout that any beginner can create. But I have another one for you. This one comes from the Darling Dinos bundle. So it's the stamps and the dies that coordinate. Remember, when you buy as a bundle, you'll automatically save 10% versus buying them separately because you're going to want one with the other. I have a grandson, and this is going to be perfect for birthdays and all kinds of fun occasions throughout the years. The glasses here will fit on either of these. All you have to do is just flip them around, and I love the little accessory pieces. This is the card I created for this one. The designer series paper on this, once again, is Toadstool Gardens. I did use the Granny Apple Green cardstock with an amazing 3D embossing folder called Fern. Just kept with that leafy theme. Embossed that and adhered it here just like we did with the pink flower card. But this time I added a little bit more oomph to it. I stamped and colored in the dinosaur super easy. I used alcohol-based Stampin' Blends markers, stamped 3 balloons, attached a little bit of baker's twine behind with a dimensional, stuck them behind my little dinosaur, and kept my greeting nice and simple here down at the bottom. You can see that you can go extremely elegant. You can go a little fancier or keep it nice and simple. This card layout is fantastic whether you're a beginner or not. As always, I would love to know which of those is your favorite. Pop down right now in the comments and tell me which card that you favor. This angled layout is perfect for beginners as well as seasoned stampers, and the combinations you can come up with are endless. And if you love fresh ideas, you are going to love Stamp Studio memberships. There are 2 levels to choose from, and every Monday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, I send a tutorial right to your inbox. Level 1 is $5 a month, and it includes pictures, cutting dimensions, and supplies with step-by-step instructions for a brand new project. Not only do I not share these ideas anywhere else, the projects are not watermarked, which means you are welcome to teach classes with this, or of course share them with other people. Now, if you'd like a little bit more, there's level 2 for $10 a month. It includes everything in level 1, but level 2 also provides you a monthly fun fold card idea with the same tutorial format. It also is going to give you a discount code for my PDF tutorial library, and everybody in level 2 is automatically entered into a monthly prize giveaway. You'll be able to find all the information on my website under memberships. We are just days away from the brand new mini catalog products and Stampin' Up's largest sale of the year called Celebration. Celebration is a time for you to be able to scoop up freebies. With every $60 product increment purchase, you're going to be able to choose a free product from level 1 from the sale brochure. You get to pick it. At $120, you'll be able to pick another item from a higher category, or of course, 2 items from level 1. You're going to be able to find all the information about the brand new mini catalog and sale brochure on my website beginning January 7th. But buckle up, there's a lot of great things coming your way, and I've got a lot of fantastic projects to share with you in the coming weeks. If you haven't already done so, head over to my website and scroll to the bottom. There's a little form for you to complete, and then I can sign you up for my free weekly e-newsletter, which is going to keep you in the know about all the sales and promotions, as well as keep you inspired. It's a no-frills email, and we would love to have you join us. If you have enjoyed today's video, do me a favor and click that thumbs up button here on YouTube. It's a like, and it helps me immensely. And if you're brand new watching and you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button down below, hit the bell icon and the word all. Then YouTube will send you notifications when I'm here so that you don't miss anything. Thank you so much for being here, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great day.